Less than a month after the release of the excellent Borderlands 2 comes the first piece of story-focused DLC, Captain Scarlett and her pirate's booty. And while it's still quite good, giving fans more Pandora to explore, more loot to collect, and more quests to complete, it simply doesn't live up to the high standards set down by the core game's campaign. If you've been dying to jump back into Pandora, you'll be pleased by Pirate's Booty, but just don't expect to be blown away all over again.
Please don't go. Please.
The entire plot of Pirate's Booty removes you from the main quest of Borderlands 2. There's no handsome Jack or epic struggle to save the planet, only a world where sand pirates roam and you've joined in on a quest to find the lost treasure of Captain Blade. It feels a bit too disconnected from the goings-on of the rest of the world, but that's not the real issue. The real issue is that the story just doesn't go anywhere all that exciting. It's a typical treasure hunt plot you've seen in a billion other films and stories. And with a few notable exceptions, such as the hilariously tragic and woefully underutilized character Shade, the majority of the story and characters are flat, predictable, and uninteresting. Still, I think any Borderlands fan owes it to themselves to play through it until the end, as the last chunk of story content is a pretty great payoff for the comparatively blander sections. The world itself still instills that same sense of place and beauty that the core Borderlands 2 established though. From the awkward ghost town of Oasis to the rolling sands of Wormwater, there's a visual aesthetic to each zone that tells the story of its one-time beauty and its current harshness. They also do a good job of establishing the piratey feel of the world, despite the lack of water, with cool-looking floating sailboats and enemies that look akin to the swarthy pirates we've all seen in films.
Someone's dead? Nice!
The combat remains every bit as fun in Pirate's Booty as it is in the main game. Even when you're largely fighting enemies who've simply been reskinned to look like pirates, it's still fun to use your character's array of abilities and arsenal of guns to turn each battlefield into your personal playground. A few entirely new enemies like the Anchorman, with his giant anchors that can yank you into melee range, manage to keep things interesting enough to keep you on your toes too. Loot and quest still serve as the driving forces behind Pirate's Booty. The guns and items you'll find won't be all that different from what you've seen before, but there's enough loot drops and a big enough payout when you complete the campaign to make it consistently rewarding. The quests though, while good for pushing you to explore all the new zones, just aren't as good as those found in the main campaign. Most of them manage to be genuinely charming or funny with the writing, but almost all of them boil down to the typical fetch and kill quests from an MMO. The base game has these too, but in Pirate's Booty they seem to be almost all you ever do. They still manage to rope me in and keep me hooked, but they felt a bit uninspired, especially when compared to what I've come to expect. They also make you retread environments that you just got done questing in constantly, something that the regular campaign did infrequently enough for me to ignore. Retreads wouldn't bother me all that much if the quests were completely original or amazingly designed, but in general they were just good or okay, and the result was that the side quests sometimes felt like a chore.
No, you're not Scarlett, but I can taste her scent on you.
The Pirate's Booty DLC gives fans what they want, more Borderlands 2 content to explore alone or with friends. You still get the same great loot system, the same entertaining combat, the same underutilized vehicles, and more environments to adventure in. You just don't get as nearly as awesome a narrative as we've come to expect, nor are there many super engrossing characters and quests. Still, for the price, there's hours of content here to enjoy, regardless of whether you completed the main story 100 times or are still working on the first. For more on Borderlands 2, you can go to IGN.